Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Xtreme Studios in the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida, on an 85 degrees, not humid at all, what we would call fall day here. And I don't know anybody else that knows fall better than people from the Midwest. And of course, that would mean RDV. And RDV, tonight, we're going to be talking about our continuing review of The Old Man. We're on season 2, episode 7, A Deal with the Devil. So, my immediate question for all the listeners as they're piling into the chat here, and you, RDV in general, is when we say a deal with the devil, is the devil a commie Ruski guy, or is it your ex-wife? Because I know the answer.
Yes. Oh, and honestly, I was trying to find a good photo. I'm like, I could do the Dan Chase talking to the Russian, or I could do John Lithgow. I felt the John Lithgow conversation was more the episode than the Dan Chase, because they're both the same thing. You said, yeah, right. They're both were making deals, and honestly, as much as I like Jeff Bridges' acting, John Lithgow to me is more interesting of a character so far. Right, and in this second season, we could see more of him because he wasn't really in it the first season. Now we can see him more, and what he has to go through, his skeletons, his past, and just connecting the dots, everything. So I've actually, yeah, like I said, like who's making the deal, and which one's making the deal with the devil, because they both almost are, because
right.
Especially, I gotta say, it's probably John Lithgow. That's why I chose that photo, because he's going to see his ex-wife. He's going to see Meredith. I think her name is. I can't remember what her name is.
Bitch.
pretty much. No, Marion. Yeah. So Harper goes to meet her like in Hong Kong and wants to know her relationship with the Suleyman Pavlovich. We'll just call him Pavlovich, Russian dude.
Pavlov, for short.
Pavlov. Like, you want to know why? He's like, can we go speak? And she's like, I love this little spy game though too. This is so cool. He like walks up behind her. She's with this other lady and stuff, and their kids, and she turns around. And he's like, and you see a shot of him staying behind her out of focus. And she's, I love the little like not flirting, but like kind of like spies do. It's like either you're old or
pissing
or
contest.
you get sloppy. Yeah, pretty pissy contest. Or you're getting, he's like a little bit of both. I'm old and I haven't been in the game a while. So, but like she's like, I saw you a mile away. It's like, he's like, well, I need to talk to you. He's like, well, we're talking. He's like, well, do you want to talk? I'm sure you don't want to talk about this out here in public. So they go to her back to her place. And they start talking about her relationship with the Russian, the photo. She's like, no, and she brushes off, saying like, I'm not with him anymore. I'm not, it was a one-time deal because they wanted together. They thought they could muscle Hamazan or whatever into getting out of the area over there, but then they couldn't because Fazan or Hamad, whatever it was, he was stubborn, so she cut off ties with him after that, And so, but he's like, and Harper doesn't believe her whatsoever. He wants to know, what was your relationship? Why do you go with him? And it wasn't because they wanted to get from Hamas, whatever it was, Ahmad. They wanted to deal with, Abby's daughter, Emily. Pawan. They figured they could make, if she could get in, so figure that John Lithgow's character Harper would introduce her. So that the two girls could talk and stuff, and maybe strike a deal and control. And he's like, who the hell are you? He's like, I love his line. He says, and he's like, you know what? Thank God for divorce, because he's like, I listen how he because you get to see him as a father act, even though he wasn't really Emily's father, but that's how much he cares about her. It's kind of like Flawless in a sense with that girl. And I just love their interaction. Then she of course gets a phone call. Who's it from? Well, it's Pavlovich. And and he's like, you know where I'm calling, and then he hangs up. But the other part of this episode was, Dan Chase. He went with them, because he figured if he has they probably have a cure for the drug, because they killed, Osmod's lawyer.
He's hot.
Yeah, so
Agent Zero.
So I gotta say this, Zoe had a little backstory in this. We get to see, something flashback on her on her wedding day. She had kind of, cold feet, whatever. So she's always been messed up. So, but it does come into play, the flashbacks, because they see in the flashback they were in the guy's cabinet, the father-in-law's cabinet, he had guns. So she got training about how to use a firearm from her first marriage when she was younger. So anyway, she goes to I guess what country are they supposed to be in? London or England? She goes to the small little old town, like one cop shop, to go to say, I know who shot killed what was his name?
The old man.
The original old man. She's like, I know who killed him. And because, well, she's in there. They get the CIA and all that stuff, and a guy shows up. We don't know. At first, I'm like, I don't know if this guy's really CIA, whatever.
Right.
Because well, Marion could have sent somebody. We don't know how deep she is in with Pavlovich.
That's right.
What's going on. And so this guy shows up and he says, like, this, you're not supposed to, I don't know if you were innocent when to this murder or if you are the other kind, Did
you get the feeling, though, because so here's the thing. Obviously, the two big scenes are each of the guys having their own deals being made. Yeah. Then this is like the side thing, too. And before I wax poetically on it, did you get the feeling that this guy wasn't on the up and up? Because I still wasn't convinced.
The CIA guy?
Yeah, the person that shows up because she's ready to do a deal and she speaks in a very calm manner to him about what she wants, and it's very rehearsed. She actually does a good job delivering it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I'm watching the guy's acting and his reactions. I'm thinking, he's on the take. He's not just a jabroni. No, he just isn't.
No. Well, they're making like the CIA's dirty. So the CIA, like if he's like, he first of all, he probably doesn't trust her. He probably works like. Here's the thing. I don't know anything about the guy, but the way they're coming off with the CIA's got a lot of moles or just dirty people in it.
Absolutely.
That's what they're paying this whole entire series. That the CIA, does things that are not, not very nice. So this guy, shows up, and like I said, like I didn't really trust him, but she kept saying, "I want immunity." So, and I guess he says like the old man, Morgan Boats, was well respected in the area, so maybe he's kind of pissed. Because this woman's involved with Margaret Boat's death, it's an impact, he's got to deal with all the extra shit that happened to this. So I don't know what his reasons are, but he seemed a little pissy. Yes, he did. Pavlovich basically is at the same time talking to Dan Chase, who's tied to a chair. I'm waiting for the Daniel Craig scene where they whip him in the nuts with the rope.
I was hoping because at this point I'm bored. I'm bored to tears.
So honestly, I was, and that's the thing. I wasn't bored to tears. Usually, I'm the one that's usually bored to tears with slow pace.
So let's back up a little bit before we get to the Dan Chase scene, because I agree with you. I think that was supposed to be the emotional center of it, and I think it fell flat. And here's why. Going back when we see Harold and his ex-wife talking. Obviously, we don't know the full extent of the relationship, how it broke down. They're both alphas. They're going to have a tough time trying to be a couple. I get all that, and they're older. And John Lithgow, he looks great for turning 80, just about, really, seriously. He's dressed well. He's such a fine actor. I agree with you. I think his performance is almost overtaking, his, because it's like, even though we've seen Dan for 2 seasons now, he's just a one-trick pony. He gets emotionally hot and can kill people. And even though he loves his daughter, it seems like he's just a juvenile kid that you can manipulate easily, where there seems to be a bit more nuance to Harold, right? And so I like the back and forth. I feel like he has more weight on his shoulders having to juggle not just somebody he thinks of as his daughter, the fact that his bitch ex-wife is trying to turn his ex-daughter, who wanted to turn her into like a Chinese asset, because obviously the Chinese have a very long-term plan in the real world and all that, and it's been going on since World War II, really the end of it. And I think here with Dan, the whole thing with Pavlovich, I want to make a comparison with him, and then I want to hear what you have to say about it, because when we'd seen the Rusky before and had hints of him, there was this idea that this guy was menacing. He's got a great physical look when he walks around, and he reminded me of what a lot of people say about Sean Connery as the original James Bond. He just walks kind of like a panther, the old L Cool J tune. He walks like he's a predator, like he's a mean bastard. So did Pavlovich. But here's the thing. The more you start talking and they sat across from each other, we've got the one chair in the middle of this area where they're trying to do a deal. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And I do like how
so
the deal was supposed to be, I'll tell you what I need, and here's why, in exchange for an antidote, some cash, so I could do whatever. And I get it, and it was almost kind of compelling.
It was more of a blackmail. You're talking about. He had sent Zoe there. He said Zoe's gonna talk to CA, and they're gonna say your name. So if they say your name, the cartel is gonna go after you to make a living hell for you. You're gonna be dead.
But these transactions, no matter what they are, how they're painted, never go 100%. So they just don't.
No, but I mean, Pavlovich has never been a heavy in the series. He was a little bitch when they first met him before. so he, and then the other thing is that Dan Chase is hallucinating because and we don't know if it's because of the drug, or if it's just basically that he's just feeling a guilty conscience because Emily's dead. He thinks that Emily's dead. All this, and he wants to kill this guy, but he says, I'll walk away. Just give me Emily's body. He admits that she was my daughter. Well, she wasn't my daughter, but she's Famaz. And he's like, I'll let you live. If you just give me the body, I will walk away. I'll put my name. I'll have Zoe tell the CIA that it was me that killed Morgan Bolts.
I like that. And it fits in line with him being a very caring parent, right?
But he probably in the back of mind, he knew this guy wasn't going to deal with him at all. So, the phone call gets cut off. Emily is kind of left, without the dry. Pavlovich sends a Russian to go kill her. The cop is easily taken care of. As she's walking upstairs, you get the flashback of her with looking at the shotguns while she's in the wedding dress at the thing. And guy walks up. Yeah, this gets his head blown off as he gets to the top of the stairs because she's got the barrel peeking out through the railing.
Yeah, I can't stand Zoe. I cannot stand her.
I can stand her a little bit. Okay, so she's not a full blown thing, but so anyway, she's a means to end for this.
True.
But Harold or Harper, and knowing that Zoe might be in trouble, sent the other guy from last week.
Yes, the guy we forgot about from season 1, who they properly spaced bringing him back.
Yeah. Like I said, so it was kind of interesting to see that she said. So basically, now he's there to protect her. They're gonna leave. They gotta, we'll probably get to see a full photo of the whole entire cartel. And what the cartel is, a bunch of white knuckle liberals. Literally, they don't look to posing. And that's the thing, though. The cartels people are never really impressive. There's always one guy who is like the badass, and that's it. Like we watched Ozark. There's one badass, the guy in the beginning who deals with them.
Mm-hmm. That's a good comparison.
Yeah,
kinda. Yeah.
I mean, and there's always one guy. He's like, he's the badass, and then the other ones are kind of like, they're yes man.
Lightweights.
Yeah,
they're not intimidating. You don't fear them at all, or the organization.
So, but so basically, because they go to try to kill Zoe. Pavlovich leaves because he has to go.
And this is the part that really upset me. Go ahead.
Well, no, for me, actually, because so he has to leave, goes to the cartel, and there's Jan Jason left with this guy. Turns out this guy is one of the sons that he killed when he was working for Hamad. And that awesome flashback scene we got taking out the Russians one by one as a Baba Yaga. And that's the other thing too. Pavlovich is scared of because this guy is the John Wick of this universe. He is the Pavlovich, or he is the Baba Yaga the Pavlovich. The guy is a nightmare, But
why wouldn't he kill him himself? Why did he leave it up to one lackey why he leaves, knowing he's that kind of guy? That's just stupid.
He probably didn't have the balls to do it. He's not that much of a leader, bro.
I can see what you're saying. I just go, the stupidity of the writing of this situation. It boggles my mind.
It's like Goldfinger.
You mean Goldmember? Hey, Dad, I got my gun. Why don't we just go shoot him? Bam, right in the head. We'll be done with it. Boom. Son, you just don't get it. I have to put him in an overly elaborate trap so he can have potential escape. Why? You don't get it,
It's
son.
just
That's what I was feeling.
Yeah, and that's basically what it was. This guy really wanted revenge, so he figured, well, this guy will take his time and slowly torture this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but of course, he makes the one faulty mistake. They keep him in a which I gotta say, the location they had him like is in his abandoned church on a cliff, which is really cool.
It did look good.
Yeah.
This show does look great. Whenever they're driving anywhere, like when they're driving up to the main building, you look outside. It is pretty. The sites they go to, you feel like, oh wow, I have to dress up because this is a government building, or this is a shithole. I mean, it looks great.
It looks like you're watching a Daniel Craig Bond movie on the sense. The locations, the settings, everything is really cool. So they put the effort into that. So the building that he's in, the Bandon Church, he notices the broken glass in there. He's got the zip tie on him. He knocks him. He purposely leans over and he gets punched by the guy. And gets knocked over. The guy at this point already broke both antidotes. So here's my theory. I don't think Dan Chase got infected at all.
Really? Why do you say that?
I think he didn't know for sure, but he figured he maybe had it. It's 50-50 gamble. Either he did it or did not have it. Have the disease. So after he gets it free, he basically takes the glass, stabs the guy in the leg, pulls him down, and then it cuts him in like the arm or something, but his wrist and stuff, and then strangles him, until the guy bleeds out to death. You see him for like a good minute there. Guy's like, then he finally dies. As the blood's going from his leg on the screen, like going away. I was like, dang. So I was like, because up at that point I was like, how is he gonna get out of this? But so he leaves him there. And well, it shows it shows Pavlovich talking with cartel. Like I said, and the cartel is like, we have a problem. Somebody attacked their thing. Remember, we had said that we didn't believe that Payanwa, whatever, Emily was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Emily is just like your father. As we kept seeing the flashback, she kept saying like, you're just like me, like, do it for me, like, she's like, eh. And she survived. She wasn't killed, and she's been just doing what her fathers would do. Great revolutionary leaders, and basically taking out the Russians' men, the cartel men, and then taking that. So now they have control of the compound, the lithium compound area, again. And like I said, it shows her up being a bad. It is believable because not only she's had FBI training, but she also was trained by her father.
Oh, yeah, that's the most believable part to me. She seems natural with the things that she's doing. That's not like what you would call agency-based. Field work.
So they show her, like, they zoom in, like, nighttime, and the fog goes away, and you see her face, the fire's in the background, everything on fire, and people are getting killed left or right. They're killing the victims, and it's just popping them, stabbing them, taking their guns, and it just zooms in on her face, and she's alive. Like, and that's how this episode ends. So I said, like, honestly, I thought it was a pretty solid episode for me. I enjoyed it.
I think the thing like with Zoe, for example, I always rag on her. I don't know. There's something about the way it's put on here, projected. We understand that we get a lot of stuff told to us in flashbacks. We get a convenient one here with her, and like to your point, that she's always kind of had issues and all that stuff. And I don't mind them fleshing out her character that way. I just felt like they should have done a little bit more of that as she's gone along, because it seems like she's a nobody that he meets, and then of course he gets involved in all this stuff. And now I just feel like they almost want to make her like she's on equal footing, even though they're having her do more of the less gun related field op kind of stuff. And I could almost buy that. You have a middle-aged woman that's just getting thrust into a world that she supposedly has no training in and all that, just to get through it feels forced, and it doesn't work. And I keep thinking about how one of the things I really remarked on with the show, and I feel like they're getting away from, is the fact that these two guys are older. They're in their 70s physically, the actors and the characters. And so I liked seeing them, if they had to like physically do something, it's been brutal, it's been realistic. We've already seen where Dan's been shot and he's able to take this guy out. And it's like, again, you leave one dude who, for whatever reason, has a personal grudge. I don't care that he's got a personal grudge. The point is, that's a stupid decision. And even if you're a wimpy ass Ruski guy, it's just mind boggling how dumb these bad guys are. Because I tell you, going into the first season, setting up the whole mind thing and the realization of Emily was very intriguing, because it's that kind of like fear of the unknown where you don't know how many different things are at play. We said it simply wasn't just going to be, say, corrupt CIA or America's side versus Ruskies, right? We knew there was a third party involved. Now we know that the Chinese are going to be involved somehow, right? So we've got this ABC thing going on, and you've got two older guys the world currently doesn't give two shits about, and all they care about is their daughter. That's intriguing. But here it just feels like, okay, we're going to keep Emily away for a little bit so we can show her in charge of everything. We knew that was going to happen. So I don't know. It just, the flashbacks with her weren't bad, but I felt like the editing was off because it's like, at least on my viewing of it, it feels like they were talking almost at the same time rather than back and forth. And I don't know.
You had the
back to the editing room to me.
The flashback served the purpose of where she learned how to use her father-in-law's firearms, but also it confirms that she's always been messed up in the head. She said, I break things, she was getting, and the father talks to her, he's like, love it. I love it. He says, love is just something they put on a greeting card. They make money, it's like, you could wait forever, for that feeling, or you can just, take the plunge and, be with somebody and learn to live with them, It basically like, and it just shows that how messed up it was, and messed up her too, her father-in-law that, wasn't, a believer in love. But it also set up is that when she gets older, now she's with Dan Chase, so maybe she actually is in love.
If she is, I'm not feeling it, and I get that when you're damaged or broken, two people are on the same level that way, it can work. Because I would agree with you on that. I just guess I need to see more of that from her because I just feel like she's an ice cold bitch. And
sure, but
the relationship here between him and his daughter is the only positive thing that I'm seeing. I'm trying. I know I'm shitting on her, but I'm trying to give her a reason to like her or to understand her or to make it seem like it makes sense. I'm not seeing it yet.
So, like I said, she's still a messed up person. So maybe she's probably trying to be a better person by hanging out because with Dan stuff, and because she actually feels like being a little bit alive. If he's equally broken as she is. So maybe they think they can fix each other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the romance it should kind of go that way. But,
like I said, this is a messed up version of romance.
Yeah.
It's just your Bond romance. Oh, I love you, and then she dies, and then I go visit Vesper's grave in the last movie, and there's a bomb. No, it's not that. Like they don't tell you. Like there's no really romance in this series. If you notice that, even with Abby and Dan, it wasn't really a romance. It was just like a means to an end.
Yeah, and I think that you mentioned before about how you really liked it. The show does generally do a very good job, and I do feel that in here of all these little loose ends that they're trying to move toward. You can tell that they're saying, okay, we're starting to hit third gear because we're getting ready to wind up the season. I kind of don't know where it's going to go, but I feel like we're going to end up kind of where we started, which is overseas, in a mine with Emily and something going on. So I don't think we're going to have any sort of resolutions when it comes to the Russian front, or obviously introducing the Chinese front to it with the ex-wife. So that had been kind of dangling out there with the phone calls and everything. So now it's like, what's the bigger picture going to be?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Was always on politics: Russia, China, and Middle East. So I'm glad they finally worked the Chinese angle in there, because I was like, this Russians are going after this deposit. Why would the Chinese not go? The
Absolutely.
Chinese, yeah. So so I don't know. So it's I want to see what happens. We got one more episode. We're building up to the final episode here. Yeah. So I'm kind of amped, man.
It's definitely an intense show. They're definitely not screwing around with stupid subplots and all that stuff you may not like or care about, but there is an intensity to it. And again, John Lithgow, without him, as much as I think Bridges has been doing a great job acting in here, I think he's really allowed not to the whole season 2 to kind of not lose anything. As spectacular as Jeff Bridges was in season 1, we're like, damn it, I'd watch anything within him. I'm glad he's in here too. Yeah, I really, really am. These guys are phenomenal. I just want to see them back together again, because the show really clicks when it's them looking for their daughter.
This is why I said this episode, John Lithgow was the main star of this particular episode, because his acting is just awesome in this. When him just talking to her, the whole thing it's awesome seeing that.
Yeah, that's what I want to see more of.
Where Dan Chase is more like Jeff Bridges' character is more like violence. It's what you expect from him. He's just going to start brutally murdering people like John Wick. but instead, you get, the guy who doesn't really murder anybody, but he's the smart and smart guy. He's like
he doesn't get his hands dirty. He's that smart.
Yeah, exactly. He does other people for him. So
I got somebody that could do that for me. I don't actually make the stuff or kill the people.
So right.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 2, episode 7, A Deal with the Devil for the Old Man. Check out episode 8 next week as we review that. That's going to be hopefully a pretty exciting conclusion to what's been a pretty surprisingly well acted and well written story, covering something that in today's political landscape I wouldn't necessarily have seen, but they're doing a great job of doing the old generation and combining with the new one there too. Anything else you need to plug?
Nope. All right, guys, we'll see you, and then all right, have a good night.
Good night now.